Yeah, Colorado. Whoop, whoop.
This is where I come to bare my soul.
You're a good boy.
I've been waiting for this all summer.
Really?
Hi there, I'm Ann Herbst.
And I'm Evan Krugel. Thanks for joining us for Storytellers Stars, where we introduce you to some of the coolest people we met in Colorado this year. Does that include you?
Well, naturally. Does it include you?
I think so.
Probably not. Anyway, Mark Salinger and I met one of these cool people on Mount Sanitas.
Boulder is a nice town.
How are you today?
Filled with nice people.
How's it going?
Doing nice things around nice places.
It is fantastic.
The word nice
Beautiful day.
is just another overused four-letter word when you can't think of something better.
I just kind of let it absorb in and
But up here,
stand here and look at the views.
there's no better way to describe Curtis Jones.
And I'm just being me, so it's nothing special.
There's nothing bland about Curtis. Around Boulder's Mount Sanitas,
What's your name?
Curtis,
Curtis, I'm Shannon.
it's nice to meet you.
Curtis has gained a reputation.
In the mood for a little present?
You're the hat guy.
Oh my god! Oh my goodness! I've been waiting for this all summer.
Really?
You bring a lot of joy, so it's an honor to meet you in person.
Oh, I was up here one time and someone called me the mayor of Mount Sanitas, and I don't know that I want a political title to go along with what I'm doing on Sanitas.
People don't always flock to politicians,
Nice meeting you, Emily.
but this mountain mayor has soared in popularity. On Mount Sanitas, it's not about his stance on the economy or global relations.
Just a random act of kindness.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Here, approval ratings are won over with hats.
First, I asked somebody, I said, what is that hat? I keep seeing them. Where did you get it? Because I'm going to go get one right now.
Here you go.
Oh my god.
And it totally matches your shirt, too.
Well, there's a man who hands them out, and I'm like, crap.
Uh,
I love it. Oh my god.
Hi there.
A Curtis sighting isn't guaranteed. Not even for the trail crew working for months up here.
All summer, I see people with the hats, and I keep commenting on it. And
The best way to increase your chances is to hike more.
you have to catch Curtis to get a hat. So
Like a hat from you in person.
you can't just go out to the store and buy one. You have to meet Curtis.
This is the fourth time today I've teared up. And just hearing your words made me tear up. So I know it's,
The hats are like everything else in Boulder. Really nice and not cheap.
I think I've gotten out about 1,000 now. I don't have anyone donating money to me. It's just me, and that's all I want it to be. I read somewhere that there's 300,000 people that come on Mount Sanitas every year.
So if you bought a hat for everyone?
That would be $6.2 million. I won't be giving a hat to everyone.
After decades of selling garden seeds, Curtis wanted to be the CEO of making other people smile.
Well, I sold my business, and I kind of felt like I had imposter syndrome, like I don't deserve this much money, and I thought, I'll give some of it back to the cool people on Sanitas, because this helped me de-stress during the pandemic, which my business was super busy.
Sure, it's just a hat,
That looks good on top of your bun there.
but the connection it creates means so much more.
I come up here, I see people I know, I've met, and even if we chat for 10 seconds, it's great. It's my family.
Be nice. Led Curtis to something bigger.
So selling the business, I didn't have purpose anymore, and this is my purpose.
Mount Sanitas changed Curtis,
And I get to hike up a mountain.
and Curtis changed Mount Sanitas.
What a treat!
To quote Mother Teresa, you throw a pebble in a pond and it creates lots of ripples, and I hope that's what happens.
It's not really the hat that people are chasing. It's about that feeling you get when someone does something
How you doing?
nice.
Good.
A lot of your cats out today.
Well, the fact that you just asked about the hats means I give you one.
Okay, Evan, how many hats do you think that guy's handed out?
I think the better question is how many times has he hiked Mount Sanitas? This guy might hike more than you.
I don't know, if you think that's a lot, wait till you see our next story.
I always said I would not run unless a T-Rex was chasing me down the road.
Coming up, we'll introduce you to a woman who took a 2,000-mile adventure.
Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us for more Storytellers Stars.
A woman from Westminster definitely earned that title with what she did over her summer break.
Rachel Krause and Tom Cole laced up their shoes to share her story.
2,000 miles in 90 days. That's about 23 miles a day for 90 days. It's always going to hurt at some level, but it's about what you choose to do with that.
For so long, Susan Bryden's feet felt more comfortable on close-by trails. This kind of exercise used to be her punchline.
I always hated running, and I always said I would not run unless a T-Rex was chasing me down the road. But I came to love running. I've run several hundreds, a couple of 200s, and now this 2,000-mile adventure.
Now she's setting a new race for herself, running across the Midwest.
My family thinks it's amazing and crazy.
Susan's perseverance pushed her to new heights. Dreams she hopes to drive into every mile and into girls and young women she meets.
What I'd like to do is take that message back into the Midwest and areas like the ones where I grew up and really talk about that running journey and share how I tackled those big, audacious running goals.
So Susan and her husband Andrew hit the road.
Bye. See you in 90 days.
Picking up the American Discovery Trail in Cincinnati.
The U.S. field's next to me, but not much going on, as you can see.
The run moves fast, the miles slow.
I'm about 120 miles outside of Kansas City.
Some stretches fly by, others are punishing.
It was deep, dense forest trail.
We caught up with Susan in Kansas, more than 1,000 miles in.
It was no joke. I would step forward and mud would go up to my kneecap. That about did me in.
Every step, an opportunity.
By running across the Midwest, show by example that it is amazing what the human body will do.
Rest breaks allowing her the chance to meet with young girls and women through Girls on the Run, a nonprofit encouraging girls to push the boundaries of their potential while helping them get outside and active. By day 67, a welcome sign sprouts off the highway, driving Susan forward.
Yeah, Colorado! Whoop, whoop.
The vast landscape unlocking why Susan laced up her sneakers and started out the door.
My impetus for running was my husband Andrew. When he got his second cancer diagnosis, he said, when I get done with this radiation, I'm gonna run a half marathon. I was blown away by that, so I said, well, I'll run my first 5K the same day.
After seeing her husband push past all limits, she questioned her own.
And I thought, you know, I've been underestimating what I'm actually capable of, I think.
Grit that carries her forward on her final few hundred miles.
All right, you ready to get your last quarter of a mile? Let's do it. Hello?
84 days after taking off, Susan's feet carried her home.
We're just amazed by what she's done here, and that we hope other little girls watching see what she can do and know that they can do whatever they set their mind to as well.
We're proud of her.
Congratulations.
Oh, to watch. Oh my gosh, thank you.
So proud of you and so impressed by you.
Star power activated. Everywhere I went and every group of people I talked to seemed to get something out of what I was doing.
The finish line, a welcome perk. For Susan, the goal is in the growth made every day of her journey.
Oh, absolutely. Of course it was worth it.
In Denver, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
All right, I am definitely not cool enough to do that.
And I am definitely not cool enough to do this. After the break, how one rapper's viral video turned into a movement for mental health.
Welcome back. Our stars don't just shine because of what they do, but because of how they help.
I met a Denver rapper whose music once reflected his struggles. Now it's helping others face theirs. Where someone comes from can shape who they become.
If you grew up in Denver or if you're a native of Denver, you understand what I mean by 5 points in the 90s. It was rough.
Corey Matthias grew up surrounded by violence, but found safety in the studio.
Because some of my music is me getting a lot of anger out. Some of my music is me getting a lot of confusion out or whatever. So just, this is where I come to bare my soul.
Rap music has long been a voice for struggle and survival, a theme that's dominated the genre.
Death, murder, money, cars, clothes, and that's what sells.
Y'all niggas are fire, baby.
For years, Corey's music was filled with anger and violence. Masking the struggles he faced within.
Yeah, I didn't really know what was going on at the time. I just knew that I was in a very unhappy place, and I was going through depression.
Corey didn't tell anyone because no one in his community ever talked about it.
Your peers, you don't speak about that amongst your peers in our age group.
It's okay to not be fine.
Liesl Perez gets it. She's been trying for years to spread the message about the stigma surrounding mental health, especially for minority groups.
We're living in a time where there's a million reasons to be depressed, but also a lot of good ways to fix it.
Last year, Liesl posted some statistics on social media showing Colorado ranked as one of the worst in the country for overall mental illness, despite good access to care. Stats that found their way into Corey's feed.
There's ultimately a mental health issue in Colorado. We actually are ranked as we're one of the highest mental health states for whatever reason. It might even just be the altitude. It might be something simple as altitude. Yeah. We ain't getting enough oxygen. I don't know what's going on.
Those comments on YouTube went viral.
One random comment from a rap star did more to lead this conversation that Colorado desperately needs than anything else we tried.
Liesl reached out to Corey.
I know.
Even though rap isn't usually on her playlist.
I did not have a lot of experience in that. And so this was really the most unlikely collaboration you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, as long as he could hear it a little bit.
The two are now friends.
Snoop and Martha.
Yes, exactly.
Together, they're launching a partnership.
We got Snoop and Martha at home.
To convince others in minority communities to talk about mental health.
Talking about it is huge. What Corey did was huge.
I want people to say, oh, if a rapper can talk about it, why can't we?
Corey used to rap about surviving the streets. Now he's healing those wounds with words that lift.
Used to be my angel, I watched you turn to a demon. There's so much pain inside my veins, I can't believe it.
I want people to be okay with being human. We need to make mental health cool.
In Denver.
All right, that's a wrap.
Evan Krugel.
That's a wrap.
9 News.
Another rad dude doing rad things.
And it sounds like you got to meet someone else who knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah, I met a guy who's been cool for over a century, literally.
Working on my puzzle.
Lots of times, legends are unassuming.
It's my word hunt.
They've got problems, just like everyone else.
Gets frustrating sometimes when you can't find it.
John Matsushima would never say he's a big deal.
No, I'm just an ordinary person.
But in all John's years,
104,
there are many moments that prove otherwise. His daughter Nancy is happy to be his hype woman.
High school commencement program, 1939.
I was valedictorian.
Nancy knew her dad, who was born in Denver to Japanese immigrants, didn't have it easy.
When I was 6 years old, my father wrote my name, Kiichiro. And so when I showed that piece of paper to the first grade teacher, she says that I would never know how to pronounce it. So she gave me my name, John or Johnny.
Johnny took what he learned on his family's farm in Platteville, grew into Dr. John, and had a career as a professor and researcher in animal science, about 30 of those years at CSU.
Teaching and research go hand in hand.
He created cattle feeding innovations used worldwide.
It's pretty special.
To Nancy, he wasn't some ag rock star.
You know, he was just dad, you know.
A dad who took his 8-year-old to work.
Do you remember when I used to ride along with you to the feedlot to Rigdon?
Dr. John's accomplishments have given the pair a reason to road trip again.
He's kind of been on tour here lately because he's got the book. He's 104, he's on the move.
At a certain point, an interesting life deserves a book.
And they wanted to know more.
And book tour to places like New Raymer.
There's no pressure telling someone's life story when they're 104 and sitting next to you.
Rachel Gable.
There's no pressure, it's fine.
Took Dr. John's story and turned it into a new children's book, Cattle, Corn, and Courage, the story of Dr. John Matsushima.
Now getting to see him come into the classrooms and just light up and tell these stories to these kids is such a great experience.
Rachel describes how he came up with a better way to feed cattle.
But when he figured out how to make it into essentially cornflakes, they gained more weight.
If I enjoy a warm, hot meal for breakfast, maybe cattle would like to have some warm meal.
The book also gets real about discrimination he faced as a Japanese American during World War II.
During the war, Johnny was a student at Colorado A&M College. When Johnny wasn't allowed in the market, his friends brought paper bags of groceries to him. And Johnny kept his head low and worked hard to study and learn.
Dr. John is still learning.
What's your favorite breed of cattle?
And teaching.
They're all good.
Just like he did for so many years at CSU.
His first student went on to be the U.S. Secretary of Ag. So he's had some pretty impactful students come through his classes.
You had a lot of grad student parties and barbecues.
Yes.
Yeah.
They all had a good time.
Yes, they did.
We wondered when they would go home.
10,000 college students later.
The honorary den.
And almost as many awards.
1942. That's too long ago.
John might need Nancy's help to place names and honors.
You have a lot of awards on the wall.
I don't know what they are.
Yeah, just like the rest of us. Superstars have problems. It's how Dr. John solved his. That makes him legendary.
All right, if you had a children's book about your life's work, what would it be called?
Work, rinse, repeat.
Come on, you can do better than that.
Okay, Trails, Tales, and Tenacity, the story of Anne Marie Herbst.
Tales?
Yeah, I gotta include my dog, Gidget. Insert picture here.
Speaking of cute dogs, not all stars stand on two legs. A service dog is living up to his name and then some.
Yeah, he saved my life. He definitely saved my life.
Meet Tommy after the break. Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us. Our last star might be everyone's favorite. I mean, who doesn't love dogs?
Yeah, and especially dogs that save lives. Aria Ja and Alex Castillo got to meet Tommy and his human.
On most courses, golfers try and avoid the marshal.
All right, man. All right, take care. See ya.
They always want to know where he is, how he's doing.
But not every marshal comes with a partner who doesn't miss a cue.
Because they don't want the marshal over there, but they want Tommy over there.
How's Tommy today?
See, he's having fun.
At Coyote Creek Golf Course,
we're out here every Wednesday.
Everyone's looking for Tommy. But Tommy is looking at Hank.
What's your dog's name? Is he a service animal?
Tommy, yep.
Hank Ford wasn't always a social person.
Come on, buddy.
When he's not on the greens, he's usually at this table.
Yeah, see, he knows I'm nervous being on camera.
Keeping his hands moving and his mind steady.
Yeah, I'm a veteran, 20 years. Alone time's not good. Idle hands are not a good thing, especially when you're battling with PTSD and depression. It's just not good. And so that's why I got Tommy. He's a licker.
Piece by piece.
Good boy.
Tommy's been building Hank's trust since September 2023, when they were paired up through a service dog company called Dogs Inc. The bond was instant.
I can just look at him and move my eyebrows, and he knows when I'm about ready to tell him.
In February, Tommy really proved just how well he knows Hank.
That morning, it was different, because Tommy never barks. Well, he was barking, he was pawing at me, he was jumping on me, he was pushing me with his nose. I mean, it was, you need to get up. And he wouldn't stop, and I'm like, go outside, and he wouldn't do it. And so then I'm starting to wake up now, and I'm noticing I'm not feeling right. And I could literally feel my heart beating. So I put on a blood pressure cuff, and I was 150/115, and my heart rate was 171.
Hank rushed to the ER. He was in atrial fibrillation, an irregular rapid heartbeat that doctors had to shock back into rhythm.
Had he not woke me up, that I could have had a major stroke in bed or not woken up at all. Yeah, he saved my life. He definitely saved my life.
By sharing his story, he hopes to show other veterans that support is out there.
You know, a lot of veterans, they won't get a dog because of the stigma of having a service dog. You know, they think people look at you different when you're walking through a store. And
with Tommy, people do look at Hank differently.
Come on, Tommy, in the cart. People be waving or they'll call us over. Hey!
Seeing him in a new light,
hey.
One he can finally step into with confidence.
You know, everybody always talks about, you know, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
In Fort Lupton.
I mean, it was a dark spot. He turned the lights on.
Rhea Jha, 9 News.
Okay, do you think I could teach Gidget how to sense danger?
If anyone can, it's you, Ann. And if you do, we'll feature her right here next year. But for now, that's it for us.
We hope you've enjoyed meeting some of your neighbors doing some really great stuff.
Stay cool, Colorado.